is Laurie Morey, and I'm an independent consultant for Usborne Books and More. I want to read to you today part of a book called D is for Duck. This is through the More part of Usborne Books and More, because it is published by Kane Miller, as you can see right here on the spine and also on the back cover. I am going to model for you 2 ways that you can help your child learn how to read. I would start out with the title. I would say, what is this letter? And they could say D. And I'd say, yes, that's great. What does D say? And they'd say it. If they're wrong, then I'd say, oh, good try. D says duh. What does D say? And have them say it the right way. But if they say it correctly, then I'm going to go ahead and praise them and move on. And I would talk about how this word is, have them say it, and this word is for. And then I'd have them read this whole part of the sentence saying D is for. And then we would go ahead and we would sound out duck. The way that I teach students how to sound out and the way that I teach my children how to sound out is one sound at a time. D, and then I tell them to blend, which is duh. Then I say sound, which is k. Then I say blend, duck. And then I say, what's that word? And then they can say duck. Then I'm going to have the child repeat the title back to me. D is for duck. A nice little touch in this book is that there is a little story going on in the inside of the front cover. And then it continues back to the inside of the back cover. I would talk about this at a different time than focusing on the sounds of the words. This is also a fun little addition. For comprehension, I would talk about what his job is, what the briefcase is for, what his emotions are for, what his emotions are based on his facial expression. Is he in a hurry or is he walking leisurely? Then I would talk about him setting all these up. I might do that when I'm teaching the sounds if my child can sit for longer, but if not, then I would just work on the sounds. I would say abracadabra, and I would talk about the stars. Whether I'm working on sounds or on comprehension, I would talk about that because it adds a lot of interest to the story. And I talk about how the hat is floating. I would sound out both bunny and chicken. I'm going to show you 2 ways to sound out bunny. You can sound out by each phoneme or each sound, just like we did with duck. So you can say b, b, n, bun, and you can say how Y says E when it's at the end of a word. Bunny. What's the word? Bunny. You can talk about how it's labeling the bunny right here. You can talk about how the stars are showing that that there was a magic trick. You can also sound out bunny by breaking it up into syllables. The syllable break is between the 2 ends, so you could say bun-ni. I like to show where that break is, and I like to show them this group and then this group, and I have them clap it out on their arm with me. So we would say bun-ni, bunny, and that is 2 syllables. Chicken. I would see if my child can recognize the word duck from when we read it in the title. If they don't recognize it, I'm going to show them the letters, and I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to talk about what is in both pictures and see if they can figure out duck. If they can, then that's great. If not, then I'm going to go through those sounds again with them. The d, d, k, duck. An egg is going to be egg, egg. Can go through these by each sound. Remember, I put 2 fingers together if there are 2 letters that make one sound. So the OA in goat says O, and so I'm going to point to both letters to help their brains connect more. That OA says O. And on hatch, since the TCH makes one sound, I'm going to point to all three letters with 3 fingers. Insects, you can break up into syllables between in and sex. Or you can do insect and then add the S on the end if you want to focus on how it's plural. Jungle is great to break up. We have jungle, jungle, 2 syllables, and you can show how it's grouped. Or you can ask them to point to it for you. And I'm just going to show you lots of the pictures so you can see how it goes through. This is such a cute little story. I think it's so fun, and it adds a great element of humor into reading. Here, I would have them predict what is that bunny going to do. You could say rabbit because it's also a rabbit, but we have bunny labeling it earlier in the book, so I would try to be consistent with that. Then you can have them predict what the magic is that the bunny has done. I would have them read the word duck again. So now we're on the word duck for our 3rd or our 4th time if you read from our title page. And then there's our end. That is D is for duck, and 2 ways that you can help your child learn how to read.